allegiance.
Yes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee Patterson. Yes. Trustee Yordi.
Yes. I'd like to move for the adoption of motion 22-149 to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the September 1st, 2022 regular meeting. I need a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Patterson. Yes. Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee Yordi.
Yes. I'd like to move for the adoption of motion 22-150 to approve the minutes from the September 1, 2022 regular meeting. I need a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Patterson. Yes. Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee Yordi.
Yes. Fiscal officers report.
Coming around for you to review would be the certifications of purchase orders and checks written since the last meeting. Pursuant to the purchase orders, a little later in the meeting for your consideration will be a resolution authorizing a then and now purchase order for purchase orders exceeding $3,000 for Blessed Motor Services Incorporated. This has everything to do with the road department and their dump truck and the emergency on getting it repaired. The last meeting, the report was that they might not be able to find parts for it. Fortunately, we were able to do it, so we expedited the repair and so now we have the then and now so that we can pay for the repair. Also, a little later for your consideration is, or just an update on an interfund advance, repayment of advance from October of 2021, and this is pertaining to the 2020 AFG DHS grant. The advance was from the general fund to Special Revenue Fund 2903. We received our final reimbursement on that, not maybe a week or so ago from Chief Miller. Had reported that we would be getting that in. It did come in, so now I would like to repay the advance. So that is a little later. Also, for your review, keeping in mind that we are 75% through the year, we have an appropriation status report. Please note that this would be a great report for the department heads to use in preparing their budgets for next year. As we're 75% through the year, this is a pretty good indicator of expenditures where we see how on track and on target we are and how they can modify their budgets for next year. And then I believe I also need signatures on the requisition, backing up a little bit for the then and now purchase order. So while I do need the resolution later, I also need your signatures on the purchase order request so that we're all above board and legal. And that is all from my desk. If anybody has any questions, I would be happy to entertain those.
Anybody have any questions for Julie?
I have none.
No.
Okay, we'll move on to Fire Chief Steve Miller.
Thank you, Ellen. I've got a couple of firefighters here. I wanted to recognize an individual. Late last year, we had a dark moment in our department when Brandon Sparks was tragically killed. And one of our members, Walt Ritchie, organized a fundraising event to help raise funds for Brandon's two young children, which went over remarkable. And I really don't remember how much money you made. 17? But Walt, he had a vision. He went out and knocked on doors and got the ground prizes and door prizes. And if you want to get blood out of a turnip, this young man could do it. Flash forward 2 months later, Robin Grant suffered a traumatic injury. And Walt came in my office and says, "Hey, I'd like to do a spaghetti dinner." And I had flashbacks and nightmares of trying to organize and run a 3-day carnival. And I told Walt to go for it. And he took it and he literally ran. And we had a great event that night at Station 102. And, you know, we thought probably we could make $10,000, $12,000. And at the end of the night, I'm counting this money and I come up with 27,000. And I went home and I couldn't sleep all night. It's like, shit, if I counted this money wrong, Chief Roberts is going to be coming after me. But Walt's going to say that, you know, he didn't do it all by himself, and he didn't. But Walt had the vision, and it's what's unique about the fire service is we all take care of one another. And what I like to do is present Walt Ritchie with an exceptional service award presented to Walt Ritchie in recognition of exceptional and devoted service.
Oh.
What I'd like to do is give Walt this award, but also like to give him a commendation bar that we currently utilize for our Class A uniforms. And this commendation bar is for an exceptional service.
Thank you.
And Miss Emily's here.
Thank you.
You want to get a picture?
Yeah, you can get a picture. I didn't do it for this. I did it because I love my brothers and sisters.
I know that.
And I do it all over.
Why don't you go up there, Steve?
Thank you.
Okay.
And Robin. Here.
Yep, I'll go there.
So we were supposed to do this like 3 months ago, and you guys canceled one of your trustees meetings, so I had to wait till it was Unit 2 day.
Soccer? Thank you.
Thursday.
Hey, love you. Bye, baby.
Bye, guys.
Get someone here.
Oh, okay.
And Robin and Steve.
What do you want?
Go on up.
Right here in front of us. Okay.
All right, Chris Johns, you can't see him right in front of you.
Floor's gonna cave in.
Never.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You guys are free to go if you want. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
On the way here, he said, I don't think I need to be here tonight. If it's not gonna be about me, I'm gonna raise the bill.
I had to tell them they had to be here at the meeting because we were going to discuss insurance. That's the only thing that popped in my mind.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. I didn't do it for this at all. I just did it because I love it. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, and
Thank you
we'll,
guys so much.
Good night.
see you, Robin. We'll do the department reports. Administrator Lori Kyle.
Good evening. Tide Administration has 2 resolutions for your consideration. The first is an amending resolution for the staffing level and pay rate summary. This is in preparation for the fire chief's motion later in the evening. The second resolution is for nuisance abatement for a property on Wagon Wheel Drive regarding excessive vegetation. If you have any questions about either of those resolutions, you did receive a picture of the property in question. Next is just to confirm the scheduling of the community development block grant income survey. I project that we should be able to start that survey on Monday, September 26th. I will put in the mail tomorrow letters to the residents on the streets that we would like to include in the funding request for paving. The letter indicates that within a month, someone representing the township will be at their door It will include a copy of the survey. Also in your packet this evening, just for your information, I have included the survey guidelines and the surveyor agreement form for people to complete that will help with the survey, just to confirm that I didn't include in this packet, there is a template to use when you're speaking to the residents, the guidelines and the agreement form, just to confirm that the person representing the township will keep any information that they gather confidential. Do you have any questions
And
about
on
the
that,
survey?
who is going to go door to door?
I am planning on it. I would not like to go by myself. I would prefer that it be done in pairs. And I believe in the evening, I would anticipate the highest level of success, but I believe it will take several days and probably several different time frames to capture everyone. At Paul's recommendation, we did take one street out. We took Mardell Court out. We thought that the perceived income of those households might not get us within the low to moderate income level that we're looking for. So we're down to 46 residents. And of that, we'll need probably 36 completed surveys. So it's not a lot, but it does have to be face to face.
You want to do it on a weekend? You're saying there's 46 houses?
Correct. Like I indicated, I believe it will take a variety of days and hours to be able to reach everyone.
Do you have any volunteers from the board?
I'll help.
Yeah, I've already.
Just let me know what
Lori,
night.
Okay.
That'll knock it out.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Works for me too.
Thank you. The BZA, the Board of Zoning Appeals informational session for residents to be able to get information about what serving on that board would entail, is scheduled for Monday, October 17th at 6:30. I have forwarded that information to the Cornerstone. Hopefully it will be included in the October edition and it will be included in the fall newsletter.
So that meeting is here,
Correct, yes.
and who's presenting the meeting?
Wendy Moeller with Compass Point Planning.
And her fee for the meeting?
It's $375.
That's for one meeting?
Correct. She anticipates it will take a little over an hour.
Okay. Okay.
Also, in regards to the implementation of a zoning department, the timeline that I've put in place, we should begin to solicit for a zoning administrator somewhere around October 1st. So I will need some direction if we're going to be looking for a full-time or part-time position.
Do we want to discuss that now, or how are we going to go forward with that? Are we going with a full-time? Do we want to start with a part-time? Anybody? I would suggest that maybe, I really don't know. I would probably say we could start with a part-time. I think it's going to be a lot to set up, but it would be up to the individual for how we're going to run the ad for this position. How do we go forward with that?
You could always run an ad. You know, full-time and part-time are going to attract two different kinds of people that are looking
Correct.
for two different variables in addition to the question of can a part-time person stand up a program? And then what's the maintenance of the program look like, right? Because there's a heavy lift in the beginning. It may stay heavy. We might be busy enough, which I think we would be, but maybe not. So could we run a part-time ad and see what the quality of candidate is? And maybe if the candidates are qualified, have a conversation with them about how do you feel about a full-time, part-time, three-quarter time, and just see what's out there and what the interest is. I'd be open to that, or you can make a decision. And just because you post it doesn't mean you need to hire someone out of that pool, but we are also, there's some time consideration.
So we don't have a draft of an ad or anything like that, of what we're going to look for, or where we're going to put this to, or obviously, we've never done it before. I think we should start now with the possibility of just drafting some type of a ad as to what we're going to put out there, because you're going to have to explain what the position is, that it's a newly possibility of a newly starting zoning board or setup, and all that it's going to entail. I can't imagine getting our doors knocked down, but there has to be a starting point somewhere. Just, I don't know, if we want to try to see what we get developing the.
No, I'm not laughing at
The
you. There's just a fly that keeps buzzing everyone.
So, I don't know. Do we want to start with an ad?
I think we got to start with that on what, Indeed? Got to come up with a pay rate, and that this part-time position could lead to a full-time position, all depending on the November vote.
Right.
You could put it on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
I don't know LinkedIn.
It's more deals with professional
Yeah, I don't like
careers and stuff like that. I think you'd probably get a good pull out of using LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
There's also, you would do like APA, American Planning Association, OEDA is the Ohio Economic Development Association. You'd do their job boards as well. Probably like Township Association and Ohio Municipal League and Ohio City Managers Association. Not that we're affiliated with any of them, but just those are where people are cruising for jobs.
Right. I think if we do Indeed, we're going to get anybody that's got to turn in a job application somewhere. I think it has to be something more professional. Somebody that possibly has worked in this field before and is familiar with the setup and zoning in general. So, Lori, you want to check into that insofar as, what type of format we can use?
Yes, just to write the ad, I needed to know if we're looking for full-time or part-time.
Okay.
So
I think if we decide full-time or part-time,
Yeah.
then Lori could look at our salary surveys or our, where it would fit within the framework, the salary framework of the township, and
Right.
come back with a recommendation. But
And see what's out there and how we actually go about doing it. I don't know who the last person was, last township that did their own zoning, possibly Morgan, but they don't have a full-time administrator. They've got 2 part-time. So All right?
Okay, so start with part-time and we'll see what kind of candidates.
I don't know that so much that you want to say part-time. You got to explain that it's a position, a zoning position for a possibility of the zoning coming in, setting up the whole procedure to it, the whole format of it. It's more than just putting a little ad in a paper. Like Jennifer said, we have to reach out to the different organizations that can give us an idea of what we're looking for. It's just not something we're going to stick together and get a quality individual that's going to come out for this position. That's my thought.
Could we do something where we just at least start to get the word out? Because I think there's a real concern that if it passes and we only have statutorily so much time,
Correct.
you're going to need to be ready.
With something.
Could you put this out and say full-time and part-time? People interested in full-time and part-time positions are both welcome to apply.
Okay.
Because you could find someone who's done this before and says, realistically, here's what you're looking at. You know, we need a little education on that.
Correct.
And I think the wider the pool is, maybe the better resumes you would get, you would hope, and the more people you could have those conversations with. It would be good to know what has to immediately be in place to be functional versus what grows over time to be a solid program. And those aren't always the same things. And hopefully if we're getting professional level people that have done this before, they can walk us through that.
Correct.
Okay. Obviously, I'll let you see what I come up with before I post it anywhere. The fall newsletter is targeted to be mailed out to homes on October 1st. I have all of the articles except for one that some revisions were suggested, so I'm waiting to get a response back on that, and should be good to submit that to Quality Publishing. The Butler County TID appointment, I was copied on an email from Hamilton City Manager Joshua Smith that his recommendation to Hamilton City Council at their meeting last night was to appoint me onto the board. When I received that email, I did call Dan Corey, the director of the Butler County TID, since the board's request had been to appoint the administrator position, not a person. And Dan's response was that the appointment has to be a person, not a position. In regards to that conversation, Dan invited me to attend their meeting on Monday, so I did go. I was able to meet Hamilton City Council person Eric Pullman, who sits on that board. He told me that I was last on last night's agenda, but he didn't believe that there would be any issues. I haven't received any notification how that went. Two things not on the agenda. I received an email from White Oak Christian Church. They are having a community service day on Saturday, October 22nd from 9 to 1. They inquired if I was aware of any projects that they might be able to perform in the community. I did forward that email to the department heads in case they could utilize these volunteers, and so far the police department has an idea of a project. If the trustees have any suggestions, I would be happy to forward that to them as well. In regards to the fiscal officer's recommendation to use the appropriation status report for budgeting purposes, the budget process for next year has begun. The department heads have their spreadsheets for them to update for this year. They have those completed and reviewed with me by October 20th. And finally, there's a nuisances update in your packet. So that's all that administration has for this evening, unless you all have any questions.
No questions? Let's move
I have
on
none.
to the fire department. Chief Miller.
Thank you, Ellen. Later on in the meeting, you guys will have consideration for a motion for the pay increase for our lieutenant's position. Also, last week, I emailed you guys a job application or an application form from a William Bland. Will is a full-time Cincinnati firefighter. He's a firefighter EMT. Would like to come and work every 6-day, 24-hour shift on our unit 3-day, which would fill a big hole. As I discussed at the last meeting, Will is 6'7", and it's going to be hard to outfit him. So I'm reaching out to a couple of departments to see if we can get some loaner equipment until we get Will fitted into proper Ross Township gear. But Will would be a great addition to our department. So it's not on the agenda, but Robin Grant just informed me that she is cleared to come back to work in mid-October, which is great news. And also Assistant Chief Johns will come off his light duty, I think this first or second week of October. So hopefully we'll get our Unit 2s back together. So that's all I have for you.
I want to explain the pay increase for the lieutenant in the fire department. That's a pay differential so that there's a difference between the lieutenant and the next person in line, so that there's a difference. And also to indicate that the lieutenant is entitled to be paid more because they're requested to do more than the next person in line. So it's in order to justify the pay differential between our fire department people. We'll move on to the road department. Paul Bulak.
Thanks, Ellen. Couple things. Millville, Village of Millville would like us to do their snow removal again. So there's a resolution for that later in the meeting. I've updated the cost and stuff, so that's part of it. A paving update. Finally, we've got some action. Rabina, Hickory Hollow, and Fox Run all should be done today. They should finish Brown Farm tomorrow, and then we will be done. So they'll just have to come back with some striping in some areas, but that'll be everything for our paving for this year then. I wanted to touch on that truck repair. We had a head gasket blow on one of our plow truck, $14,000, and we were fortunate the head wasn't cracked, or it would have been another 6 or 7 on top of that. So not really a cause for it that they could give me, but I mean, it's kind of the price of keeping old equipment. That's a 15-year-old salt truck. So, and it gets its hardest work in the worst conditions. And unfortunately, our smaller dump truck is also in the shop. They haven't pinpointed the problem yet, but it's got a dead cylinder. They've already tried all the normal easy stuff, and he should be letting me know tomorrow or Monday, but it's probably an internal problem inside the engine, so it's probably going to be costly too. And I mean, when it rains it pours, I guess, but just to let you know, there'll be a bill coming for that one, but I had no guess at what it'll be.
If they give you a quote, will you give it to me up front so we
Sure. Now, I wouldn't expect this one to be more than 3,000 or 4,000. It's not going to be 14 or 15, but it's not going to be a couple $100 either.
How old is that truck?
That one is a 2011, but the first one with the 14,000, that's 15 years old.
So we've got a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old truck, right? Did I do the math?
11, yeah.
Okay.
thereabouts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Police chief.
Had a meeting
week before, right before I went on vacation. I met with Chief Deputy Dwyer and then with the sheriff just to have some discussions about our relationship to try and smooth things over. Part of it was we're trying to come up with a Butler County-wide police or law enforcement appreciation banquet. And when you have something like that, it's you need to have all the law enforcement agencies within Butler County on board with it. And obviously the Sheriff's Department is one of the bigger agencies within Butler County. So sat down with both of them and everything is good for now, moving forward, subject to change. So that was a positive thing. It seems so it is what it is right now. So at least we're back on good terms. Something that wasn't on the agenda that obviously just took place the last couple of days. We did have a fatal motorcycle accident last night, still being investigated. I don't believe that the driver of the motorcycle, I think they have been released from the hospital already, but I'm not 100% on that. It's still under investigation. The multi-jurisdictional START team came out and is handling the investigation. We took the initial report, but passenger did not survive. And then we had another critical incident that I made you guys aware of the day before in Ross Township. So past few days been a little crazy, unfortunately.
The Journal News had both them dead.
Well, they also, Channel 5 had a vehicle or a motor vehicle that was involved, and I had to call Channel 5 this morning. I don't know where they came up with any of this stuff. It's like, and unfortunately the family members were in here and I'm trying to explain to them, I'm like, none of this stuff that's on the news for the most part, or even in social media is even close to being accurate. And I don't know where they came up with this. Channel 5, after I spoke with Karen Johnson, they did correct the error. So, but I don't know where they came up with some of this information, but unfortunately it is what it is. But that's been fact checked and corrected. That's all I have for right now. Any questions?
Okay, we'll do public participation. Steve Fagley.
Steve Fagley, 4049 Cypress Lane. I didn't manage to go to last meeting without talking about the zoning issue. And I don't know if I'm the only person against this. I get that feeling. That's all right. I wanted the people who are in favor of the zoning to think about this question. What does $100,000 a year mean? And these are some of the topics that have been discussed at trustees meetings in the last 2 months. Should we have a dumpster out back instead of rolling trash cans? Should we replace the railing that does not match the handicap ramp? We'd really love to fix all the curved sections of roads we're working on anyway, but we can't afford to do it a little bit of time. We got to wait until we do the whole street curves. And the administrators are right. 100% right. They're talking, some of these things are a couple $100 a year, and they are right to worry about it. These are what the administrators know we're in financially. That's the situation we are. To be responsible custodians of the public's money, they have to worry about such things. And we have, and I'm trying not to get personal with this, and I'm struggling with this. A couple people with a snap of the finger, they're ready over the next 10 years to behold us to $1 million for zoning. And I sit there thinking, I wonder what we're going to get for this $1 million if it passes. And as I thought about that, what did we get if we'd had this 10 years ago? 10 years of this, we'd have put $1 million into it already. What would we have gotten for $1 million? And I have a 3-question test, and I'm going to leave this here. I don't know if anybody here is in support of this zoning levy issue. 3-question test. Question number 1, what zoning issues have been approved by the Butler County Zoning Board in the last 10 years that would not have been approved by Ross Township Zoning Board? I'll leave it here, blank lines, fill it in if you want. Question 2, What zoning issues have not been approved by the Butler County Zoning Board in the last 10 years that would have been approved by Ross Township Zoning Board? Question number 3, and I know the answer to this one, and probably everybody in here knows the answer to this one. What controversial zoning issues have been approved or disapproved by the Butler County Zoning Board in the last 10 years that didn't end up being decided in the court system anyway? And you can take a wild guess how many that is. It's a real small number. If you don't know the answers to these questions and you support this issue, you need to rethink where you're coming from. And I think so far this township, well, people are well-meaning, but they're getting sold a bill against, oh, this township, and it does. Somebody knocked on my door, oh, we need township control. Have we really gotten $1 million worth if we'd have had this 10 years? I don't think so. And in fact, the last question, and everybody, the answer is 0. You can't get this stuff approved without going through the court system anyway. And so I appeal to Ross Township residents, rethink this, find somebody who can answer those for you. So in the past, what's happened that's got us so worried about it? We haven't had a single trustee push this issue. Why historically are trustees not gone for this? And the people who know the best are not the ones pushing for it. And so I plead with Ross Township residents, don't go down this route. And once you go down the route, we're stuck with it. We're stuck with a costly expense. We got so many expenses here, it's unbelievable. The things, you just come to a township trustee meeting and hear what's talked about, the few dollars that they're worried about, struggling with. Tonight, our salt trucks are too old. Oh, really? Oh, well, we need to worry about paying an administrator. We need $100,000 a year. This doesn't work, people. We got to live within our means. And so I urge all Ross residents, vote no on this levy. And if you don't know the answer to those 3 questions, you need to find out and find somebody who can tell you. And to me, that's a bare minimum. What people should be telling you is a reason for why they support this levy. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else? Okay. We'll move on to announcements. On behalf of the Butler County Commissioners, Cindy Carpenter and Dr. Scott Remus, the board is invited to attend the presentation hosted by former Justice Evelyn Stratton as part of Ohio's Stepping Up initiative on September 23rd, 2022 at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This Zoom event will be a discussion on how your community can better meet the needs of individuals with mental health issues who continuously cycle in and out of local correctional facilities, and is open to all interested parties who may want to attend online. Please feel free to forward the invitation to staff members or providers. Justice Stratton hopes to see a large number of viewers from Butler County. To register, contact Stephanie Harris by email or stephanie.harris@butlercountyohio.us by Monday, September 19th, 2022. Anything from the board?
I have nothing.
No.
Resolutions. You want to read these?
Yes.
It's too much.
Yeah, I could. So what do I need to read? Just the purpose?
All of this.
All at once? Oh, no, just wanted. Sorry. Okay, so resolutions. We have numbers on them or just all of them?
But they should have numbers on. Just read it.
I think I switched to. I don't have to.
I'll read it.
Oh, it is. Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay. So the first resolution is in an effort to retain supervisory staff and allow for a more appropriate supervisory pay differential in the fire department. The fire chief requested an adjustment to the hourly rate of pay for the lieutenant position. This resolution amends the staffing level and pay rate summary to reflect that change. So I'll take a motion for the adoption of resolution number 2022-055, amending the staffing level and pay rate summary for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. Need a second?
Second.
There any discussion? Okay, a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes.
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes.
Second, earlier in the meeting, the fiscal officer discussed the need to adopt a resolution approving a then and now purchase order that exceeds $3,000 for the payment to Blust Motor Service, Inc. for truck engine repair in the road department. This resolution approves that purchase order. I'll take a motion for the adoption of resolution number 2022-056, authorizing a payment of certain then and now purchase order obligations. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes.
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
All right. Third, earlier in the meeting, the road superintendent asked the board to approve the emergency snow and ice removal agreement with the Village of Millville for the provision of emergency snow and ice removal services during a 6-month period beginning November 1st, 2022 and ending April 30th, 2023, following the adoption of the resolution and authorizing the township administrator to execute the agreement. This resolution authorizes that agreement. So I will take a motion for the adoption of resolution number 2022-057, entering into an agreement with the Village of Millville for the provision of emergency snow and ice removal services during the 6-month period beginning November 1st, 2022 and ending April 30th, 2023. Following the adoption of the resolution and authorizing the township administrator to execute the agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Paul, did our price go up due to the cost of diesel, or are we remaining the same for this fiscal year?
I didn't change the price based on fuel. I changed it on labor cost
Okay.
and salt cost.
All right, thank you.
Ellen, did you have any questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes.
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes.
Earlier in the meeting, the administrator provided evidence of a nuisance violation to exist at a property on Wagon Wheel Drive. This resolution declares that property to be a nuisance and orders its abatement. I'll take a motion to move for the adoption of resolution number 2022-058, declaring a nuisance for excessive vegetation at 1832 Wagon Wheel Drive. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes?
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes.
And then we'll move for the adoption of 22-151 to pay the bills as presented through the fiscal officer's certification of purchase orders. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes?
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes.
We'll move for the adoption of motion 22-152 to approve a pay adjustment for the lieutenant position in the fire department to $23.58, effective retroactively to August 28th, 2022. This action is in compliance with the current staffing level and pay summary resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Oh, did you? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes?
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes.
We'll move for the adoption of motion 22-053 to hire William Bland to the position of part-time firefighter EMT at the rate of $17 per hour, subject to passing all pre-employment testing. This action is in compliance with the current staffing level and pay summary resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes?
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes.
Move the adoption of motion 22-154 to retire into executive session to discuss the employment, promotion, or compensation of a public employee in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 121-22G1. Time is 6:46. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes?
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes.
Okay, with that, there we are.
Thank you. Thank you all.
You're 30.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah. Do we just want to close it?
Well, you gotta move, return from executive session.
We will return to executive session. The time is 7:50. Give or take. Need a motion.
So moved.
Roll call.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes.
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Yes. Move for the adoption of motion 22-156 to adjourn the meeting. Need a second?
Second?
Roll call.
Trustee Patterson?
Yes.
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Yordi?
Meeting October 6th at 6 o'clock.